I'm Ella, and this is our trip to China. Alex, Brad, and I traveled separately. We all flew out of Charlotte without the group, and we met up in the terminal and said goodbye. After arriving in Beijing and each taking interesting taxi rides back to the hotel, we started the next day at the Beijing International University. I really enjoyed getting to meet the students there and making friends with some of them, especially Susan and Claire. And then here are some photos of the Olympic Village that we went to after the university. It was really cold, so we didn't stay very long, but it was a really cool experience. The next day, which was also really cold, we woke up early and went to the Forbidden City. Here's Tiananmen Square, and then a group of us on the Great Wall, and it was a really great, fun-filled cultural day, followed by a trip to the Great Wall, like I said. And then on day 3, our last day in Beijing, we visited Lenovo. We went to the US Embassy, and we went to the famous Beijing duck restaurant. Visiting all 3 of these places was really awesome. I didn't realize how important Lenovo was as a company. And also the US Embassy, while I didn't see the value in it initially, it was a really great and informative experience, kind of understanding their role and business in China. And then we ate scorpions.
Also, what Ella said, the US Embassy was really cool because there was this entire line of people trying to get US passports or US visas to come over to America, and people had to wait all day and sometimes come back the next day because they didn't get in time. On day 4, we flew out to Shenzhen. It was a pretty short plane ride. I thought it was kind of cool because they actually gave us food on a really short plane ride, and it was probably the most disgusting food I've ever tasted in my life. And the flight attendants did a little dance. I was asleep for that one, but Ella informed me when we got there about the little dance that they did. Once we got there, we went to lunch on our own, which was a pretty unique experience. None of the places had any English menus or English-speaking workers, so it was kind of cool to just put ourselves, submerge us into the Chinese culture in an area that wasn't really Americanized, I guess you could say.
I'm also pretty sure that we ate a cat.
Yeah, we were not really sure what we ate. We just pointed at pictures, and then there was cats running around. It got a little weird. Brad found some unique vegetable, maybe it was a root.
It's a lotus root.
Lotus root. No thank you on that, but we enjoyed watching him try it. Then after that, we went to Huawei, which was the largest telecom company. Huawei. Which is the largest telecom company that Dr. Benoit set up for us, which was a huge deal because through introduction, she was able to get us in there. It was a pretty quick tour, but it was also really cool to see all the technology that was coming out. This picture right here is of a screen that they kind of do business with other companies without actually having to travel. It was a huge flat screen that had a really good picture on it. After that, we traveled, it was about an hour and a half to our hotel in Dongguan. And this was we stayed at a 5-star hotel. Probably our favorite part of the trip was our hotel room when Ella and I walked in. It was, had a really nice hot tub area, really cool if you're on business there, just kind of relax, a really cool area. Definitely somewhere I'd be interested in doing business with in the future. That night, Bernhardt actually we were visiting them the next day, but they wanted to take us out to dinner, which is kind of what they do over there. Dinners are huge. We went to a lamb place, especially with lamb. Wasn't crazy about lamb. Ella liked it a little bit. Some other people enjoyed it a little more than us. So we had a lot of alcohol.
Yes,
that dinner.
we did.
Not very much food, so they kept gombaying us and turned into trouble.
And then Hunter was spilled on.
And then one of the Chinese ladies at Bernhardt accidentally spilt all over Hunter, which he was not very happy about, but he was a champ. Following the next day, day 6, was our tour of Bernhardt factory. This was probably my favorite part of the trip. Obviously, you know, the fun stuff, but learning-wise, this was probably the coolest thing. We got to go into this building here, and it showed us kind of the layout of the Bernhardt, where the dorms are, where the factory is, and all the assembly lines that take place kind of in there. Then we went through it, which was a pretty eye-opening experience what outsourcing is. All these jobs came from North Carolina. They took them from there and put them over in Dongguan. And these Chinese workers didn't have any eyewear, gloves, what else? Masks, earplugs, or anything like that. It was very dangerous. And it was kind of cool to see how the assembly line really worked. After that, we went to lunch again with Bernhardt at a seafood place, which was a really fun experience. This is outside of it where the live fish was. And then our friend Brad here got, what is it, $1?
Baiju?
Something. And Steve, owner or manager of Bernhardt in Dongguan, said that it tastes like rubbing alcohol. Day 7, which was a pretty cool day, we traveled to Hong Kong. We had a ton of security to go through. It was customs.
Yeah, the customs.
We had to go through 2 different sets of customs. Kind of a pain in the butt, but once we got there, we were kind of happy to be there. We got to see the downtown kind of Hong Kong area before we went to the university, and so after that, we went to the University of Hong Kong. We kind of got a tour of the facility, and also what was his name?
Lecture. I think it was Dr. Vogel.
Lecture from him about just kind of the questions we had about Hong Kong compared to China, and it was kind of mainland China. It's kind of cool because before we went over that, I don't think many of us knew really the major differences. I kind of always thought that Hong Kong is in China and how could it be so different, but it's very, very different. After that, we got to travel all the way up to Victoria's Peak, which was kind of exciting for us because we didn't really know what to expect. The only negative was it was a little cloudy that day, but it was still a great view. The University of Hong Kong was really cool, especially for people like Ella and Shannon who are interested in maybe pursuing their PhD, gave them a little more information about how they could help them out in going to the University of Hong Kong. Later that night, we decided to make a quick trip to Macau. Kind of last minute decision, very, very cool. Would definitely recommend someone going back there. It was the first time gambling, hashtag winning for sure. Me and Ella did win. Ella won a lot more than me because I couldn't stop gambling. And this is the group that kind of took it to Macau. Very cool place, lots of casinos, I know if I was on business again in Hong Kong, I would probably try to go over there again.
Definitely.
Overall, I know Ella and I had a great time on this trip. We were able to incorporate learning, business, culture, and even had a great time on spring break. I know we had a lot of different emotions from people about us taking a trip to China. Completely different perspective now coming back from China and looking back on the country.
I agree. I had a lot of preconceived notions about China as a whole, about the people and the culture, and just the major differences, especially dealing with the language barriers and the alphabet. And going there and meeting the people and experiencing the food, I have a totally different perception than I had before. Everyone was so kind. It was a lot easier to get around than I imagined that it would be. And I'm definitely interested in further exploring China for pleasure and for business, as I think that there are many opportunities there.
We just wanted to thank you very much, Dr. Vinoy and Dr. Kazier. I know we had a great time, and we know how much effort and time it took into planning this trip, and we wanted to know how grateful we are for it. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you.